because our next story this morning is about a lady called Maria Harrison, who has been a lifelong cat lady who is now turning to dogs. It's a lovely story of how 2 stray dogs have been rescued from the streets of southern Spain and are now in the northeast. And it's all thanks to Maria, who runs the Willows Cat Adoption Centre, and her best friend Julie, who used to live out in Spain. Well, Maria's been running the centre now for over 40 years, which is phenomenal. And she's got a cat cafe as well. I went along to meet her there. You'll have to excuse the wheezing and the sneezing because I am violently allergic to cats. But we were there to talk about the dogs, Romeo and Juliet. But first I had to negotiate some pretty friendly felines. Right, here we are. So we've taken the antihistamine, we've got the Ventolin, and we are in the cat cafe at Willows Cat Adoption Centre with Maria. How many years have you been doing this then?
42 now.
Right. That's a long time, isn't it? Do you ever get exhausted and think, I'm going to pack it in?
No.
No. Why not? Because lots of cats and dogs need you.
Well, everything you do is very rewarding. It's lovely to see the end result.
So how many cats have we got in here today?
We take 12 in the shelter, so we're very small and extremely personal, so everyone has their needs met. We're not an overcrowded place where it takes lots in. They all have their own spaces, and all of their needs are taken into consideration.
I mean, they're beautiful homes.
They're beach houses we made for them, little beach houses which were made specially by a joiner to my own design.
And they've got bunting and everything. It's proper kind of Cath Kidston shabby chic houses for the cats.
It is, and that's my favourite design, so obviously it's spilled over into the cat world. Yes.
Now, we're going to talk about Romeo and Juliet, the dogs in 2 ticks, and how you've moved into helping there. But who have we got here? Who's this special little kitty here?
This is our Buttercup, and Buttercup has a small deformity in her front leg, which enables her to walk on 3 legs, but the other leg is all twisted. So she doesn't know she's deformed because she's lived with it forever, and our vet has looked at it and we've had it x-rayed, and nothing can be done. And she doesn't need to lose the leg because she uses it to play, and she uses it to love you with, and she uses it as a little face cloth to wash her face. But she's a special needs cat. She had her birthday with us, so she's about 2 years old at the weekend at our cat cafe.
What a lovely character she is as well. I mean, I like cats, it's just that the allergies get to me, but she seems like a lovely character. So what kind of a home are you looking for her?
A quiet house, a loving house, and someone who's in a lot. But she's very active. She's only 2, so she loves to play, and a safe garden would be wonderful, but obviously she couldn't go out in the outside world. She'd be too vulnerable.
OK, so you've done wonderful work with cats, and I know at the Cat Cafe every Monday people come in. Do people that come in for coffee sometimes take the cats? Do they adopt the cats?
If they want to come in as an adoption appointment, they have to make a separate appointment if they're interested, and we would interview them first. So we don't do anything like that on Cat Cafe Day. That 3 hours is just set aside for tea, coffee and chat, and that's it.
And do the people that come in get a lot of, I suppose, relaxation from spending time with the cats and the animals?
Definitely. We have people who come in every week, some people who come in every fortnight, and we have a gentleman and lady who travel over the water every month, and they come and sit and have their sandwich or whatever and enjoy the day.
OK, so there's often kind of a divide between cat and dog lovers. But I like all of them. I have dogs, but I love all of them. And I know now you have moved into helping dogs. So tell us about Romeo and Juliet.
Well, I have always helped dogs where and when I can, but I obviously run the cat shelter mainly. Romeo and Juliet were 2 dogs now brought to my attention by a dear friend who's just recently moved from Spain, and she did a lot of rescue over there. They were 2 Labrador-type crosses who lived in Seville, whereby they had a little puppy with them, and they wandered everywhere begging food from the streets. Many people threw bricks at them. They were really frightened. They were out on the road. They were seen running all over the place. They were taken into the local pound, which is absolutely pretty horrific and pretty dire. And although they do their best there, it's really, really prison for dogs. And Julie, my friend, brought them over here to England, and they now have a wonderful home, which they've just gone into trial adoption just yesterday.
Oh, brilliant. brilliant. So we found a home for Romeo and Juliet, and they're together.
Yes, we were going to do everything we could to keep them together, but it didn't matter in the end. As long as they had a fantastic home, that would have worked. But obviously we would like people to... We're on trial adoption to see if it works out. If it didn't work out, there may be one of them who will still need a home. So we don't want anybody not to ring if they would think they could give either one of them a home, just in case it's too much for the people who've taken them.
And how hard was it practically to get the dogs over from Spain?
It's not that difficult because the workers who work in the shelter over there are fantastic. They do all the hard work, all the passports, all the vaccinations, the neutering, the spaying, the rabies jabs, everything's done. It costs a little more than £200 to save a dog, but people spend £400 and £500 on puppies. They could be rescuing a dog that would so desperately need it without taking one from a breeder.
So if you just joined us on BBC Newcastle Radio for the North East, my guest this morning is Maria Harrison, and you're hearing the story of Romeo and Juliet, the two dogs that were rescued from Spain, who were in a terrible condition. They have got a home right now, but what Maria was saying is if it doesn't work out, if it's too much to have the two dogs together, you know, there are still, she's welcoming calls. So we're going to hear more from Maria in the next few minutes or so. It's Anna Foster here with you until 12 o'clock. And today we're hearing the story of Romeo and Juliet. No, not star-crossed lovers, but dogs. These are two stray dogs that were rescued from the streets of southern Spain and are now in the northeast. And this is all thanks to Maria Harrison. Maria's been running the Willows Cat Adoption Centre in South Shields for 40 years. And she's got a cat cafe as well. And I went there to find out more about the dogs, Romeo and Juliet, who ended up back in the northeast, all thanks to Maria and her best friend, Julie. I did have to negotiate a lot of cats. I had to take lots of antihistamine, and I wheezed for about 2 days afterwards. But it was worth it. It's really strange as well, because when you're allergic to cats, they want to come and sit on your knee even more. They seem to want to lick you even more. One of the things that we did discuss was the fact that in a lot of other countries, the conditions that animal shelters are in are utterly, utterly shocking.
There are thousands and the accommodation for them is dire. They have nothing, absolutely nothing. Some of them are lying in their own excrement. I mean, they throw raw chicken in and they have to fight for it. The ones that are shy or small, there's dead dogs get dragged out every day. There are hundreds of them in compounds. It's nothing like England at all.
So I know that this is something that you're going to carry on with now, and there's another dog coming. Is that Mrs. Willows? Is that her name?
Mrs. Woolly.
Mrs. Woolly, yes.
She's a little curly dog. She's a different kind of dog altogether. Mrs. Woolly must have belonged to someone who loved her at one time. Her coat was taken off her, so that was a good thing, because obviously poodle types need clipping. Then she ended up on the street because her owner died. She was then taken to what they call the killing station, which is a horrible word, but that's exactly what it is. And she was terrified. And I saw a video of her with the larger dogs barking and jumping over her and knocking her over. And she could hardly concentrate, and she'd lost the will to live. And I decided to buy her and bring her over.
So when will she be here then?
Tomorrow morning.
So Mrs. Woolly will be here tomorrow morning?
She will, and everything is ready for her. She's passported, she's neutered, she has her vaccinations and everything up to date. And it will be a little difficult for 48 hours till she adjusts to the change. But we will be looking for a very, very special place for Mrs. Woolly.
And will she stay here then with you, Maria, in the cat adoption centre?
No. She will have a fosterer, yeah, which she'll be cared for until the right home comes along.
Right, and what happens at night time? Do you take all of these cats home, or is this your home?
No, this is the shelter. There's staff morning, lunchtime and evening. All of the cats here are normal ability and don't require any medication or special care. Yes, but the ones at home, I have a small amount at home. I have 4 at any one time. I have a building specifically for them. And they are ones that are heavily pregnant with nowhere to go, ones that need medication, ones that need to be kept an eye on. So there's 3 visitors a day, 3 cat auntie at lunchtime and 2 staff on here every day, 7 days a week.
What keeps you going?
Probably, I don't know, just the pleasure of seeing them happy.
And even as a child, were you always in love with animals and loved to be with them and spend time with them?
I didn't ever want to work in places where animals were cared for, because they're all right. I wanted to do ones that people didn't care whether they lived or died. And as a child, I used to bring them home from school. But of course, that escalated into something very massive, which I do now.
In terms of responsible ownership with cats and dogs, how important is it to get them neutered, to get them spayed, to do all of those things?
There's nothing more important in the world than neutering and spaying. If a limited amount of money is available, everyone can make a phone call. The Cats Protection League, that are a wonderful organisation, help. The shelters try and help. Everyone who is involved in rescue, everyone will tell you the same thing.
Yeah. Get it done, be responsible.
Absolutely vital. I know that there are many people who make money out of their kittens, their cats, and breed them and breed them and breed them just to sell them for a few pounds, and it's disgusting and abhorrent to us.
Because this young lady here, she's had several litters, hasn't she?
She has, yes. They allowing a crippled cat is just unforgivable. Yeah. Totally unforgivable.
So you're doing wonderful work. Mrs. Woolley's arriving tomorrow. In preparation, what have you done for her?
Oh, all sorts. She's even got fairy lights.
I knew she got the fairy lights.
Night light. Beautiful bedding and everything she will need and lovely food. So she'll be coming to luxury.
So will you be getting her from the airport, or where will you be getting from?
They get delivered, and then the gentleman from the Agriculture and Fisheries has to come within 24 hours and sign off, because obviously you've got to be seen to have all the paperwork. Other than that, that's it. She's in England to stay.
Excellent. So if anybody wants any more information about her or about what you're doing here, where should they go?
They must ring me. If they can get me. I'm on 07719. Oops. Oh, sorry.
No, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
Rosewood's extremely hands-on when there's wires around.
Rosewood, don't leave a microphone.
She says, I like that.
Yeah.
We'll try again. 07719 605 383. I also have a landline, and you can leave a message on that, and I will get back to you as soon as I can. And it's 0191 456 8511. That's 456 8511.
Thank you very much, Maria. Thank you. Maria Harrison there at the Willow Cats Adoption Centre in South Shields, turning attention from cats to dogs, helping dogs who are in a terrible situation out in Spain at the moment. And they have a new one, Mrs. Woolley, desperate for a home. And I tell you, they say don't work with cats. With cats, they say don't work with children and animals. But I've always found children and animals quite fun to work with. However, when I was talking to Maria, this one particular cat just kept trying to bite the microphone and chew the lead the whole time. So if you could hear me seem a bit distracted, that's what was happening.